very thoughtful men of the mid-19th century who said, we need colleges to teach agriculture. The Woodman Farm has been a UNH property since the end of World War I, although UNH students actually picked apples during the war for the war effort. Oh yes, and UNH moved here and became the university when a Yankee farmer by the name of Thompson said, I don't think that they're really doing enough ag education up in the Upper Valley. That's really just a tack on to Dartmouth. And Ben Thompson was a gentleman farmer and never married. And he says, I'm leaving my farm to move, if the university will move down here and really do this ag bit properly. And so that's how UNH got to Durham.
Well, good morning. My name is Andrew Ogden. I'm a lecturer in the Sustainable Agriculture and Food Systems program here at UNH. In addition, I'm also a graduate student working on my PhD under the direction of Dr. Brent Loy, working with cucurbits. I'm here today to lead a tour around the Woodman Horticultural Research Farm, where numerous faculty members conduct their research on new horticultural crops and technologies, and of trying things out before we new practices before we send them out into the real world. This is the work of Lise Mahoney and Dr. Tom Davis. They're strawberry breeders. They do some molecular assisted breeding, so not actually genetic modification, but they do get in and examine the DNA, and it gives them a chance to get a look at what the plants are going to look like before they've actually grown to maturity. But essentially strawberries are, their flowering and fruiting habit is either called June bearing, which really just produce a large crop in the month of June, which is what we've typically grown here in New England. And there are newer varieties called day neutral. That just refers to they're not dependent on a certain number of hours of day length. So they will actually produce fruit all throughout the summer and even into the early months of fall. And the day neutral varieties are quite popular out west in the southeast, some in Canada, but have not really been adopted much here in New England. Yeah, pretty good rocks, huh?
I don't know how you're going.
Fertilizer recommendations for tomatoes were largely all based on field-grown tomatoes. And those of you that have grown tomatoes outdoors probably haven't seen them grow quite that well, and they grow much larger in these tunnels and they produce much larger yields. So therefore they're pulling a lot more nutrients from the soil. So they're coming to find out that the recommendations that, say, Extension is making for fertilizer for growers on the potassium side may have been coming up a little short. So they're fertilizing at different rates with potassium to see what's really optimal. This is another research project of Dr. Becky Seidman's. These are all Brussels sprouts, and what she's looking at here is the benefit of topping the Brussels sprout plant, which means the central stem is going to emerge and elongate. And all the Brussels sprouts, you can see them starting to form along the base of these plants. But what happens is near the top of the inflorescence or the flowering structure, you tend to get a lot of very small sprouts that never really form a marketable size mini cabbage head. So they go through and take those tops off, and what that enables to happen is that the lower Brussels sprouts are able to develop better. They grow larger, and the plant's not really wasting energy on these ones that aren't going to ever turn into anything good. So she's looking at, okay, is there a benefit? Do we increase the yield if we top them? And then she's looking at when is the best time to top them. Because depending on when you do it, if you do it too early, you could actually lose some marketable yield. If it's done too late, it simply doesn't really achieve any effect. So they're looking at both date of topping and the overall benefit of that practice. Even on a cold day, as the sun comes out, these tunnels really heat up quickly. So they do take quite a